Welcome to Mining Over Canada. Join the Canadian Securities Exchange and our partners in a first-hand look into our country's vast mining landscape. Experience its regions, meet the people, explore the history, and find out what comes next in one of Canada's richest industries.
Hello, everyone. This is Grace Padota from the CSE and welcoming you to our weekly Tech Tuesday virtual session. This week, we will be highlighting public companies listed on the CSE. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our moderator today, Barrington Miller. Enjoy today's session.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Grace. So today is Tech Tuesday. Typically, we do 3 private companies, but today, on the first Tuesday of every month, I have the privilege, the pleasure, the honor of doing 2 to 3 public companies. And today, as part of our Mining Over Canada initiative, we are featuring mining and mining-related companies. So let's kick it off. Our objective of running Tech Tuesday. First, it's to help technology companies with increasing traction and gain relevant visibility. And second, it's to help the capital markets players by introducing these companies. So in all fairness, and just to let you know what's going on behind the scenes, we have 3 companies. One of them is sort of experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully, we will get that wrapped up by the time we get to the 3rd company. Some housekeeping items. You'll note that there's a red reconnect tab at the top of your screen. If you lose audio, just click it and you'll be reconnected. In the event that there's technical issues on your side, we may hit the restart, in which case there is no action required. Yes, usually we have a disclaimer that Mark Francis reads out. Of course, we're not giving advice. And please keep your comments polite as this is a family show. Each presentation will run 7 minutes, not 7:01, not 7:02. It'll run 7 minutes exactly. And the reason for this is that Mark Francis has a finely tuned machine and instrument in Tech Tuesdays. So, who's here? First of all, we have Ryan Jackson, CEO of Newlox Research and Development Corp. Next, we have Ross Orr, President and CEO of BacTech Environmental Corporation. And third, hopefully, we have Duane Nelson from Enviroleach. We're going to start with Ryan. Ryan Jackson is the President and CEO of Newlox Gold, a CSE-listed resource company and the parent company of Newlox Research and Development. Ryan is an environmental scientist with experience in the resource industry and has technical and executive level experience. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Ryan. Take it away.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. My name is Ryan Jackson, and as it was said, I'm the President and CEO of Newlox Gold Ventures Corporation. We are CSE listed as LUX. We're also on Frankfurt and Stuttgart as NGO. Today, I will be talking about Newlox Research and Development Corporation, which is a subsidiary company. We recently, just this summer actually, formalized our research and development initiatives into this company. So leading the charge from a technical point of view is Dr. Marcelo Vega. He is our chief technical advisor and has over 25 years of experience as a metallurgical engineer and actually used to run the United Nations effort on artisanal mining. He is also currently a UBC professor. Under Marcelo, we have Dr. Omotayo Fedina. She is our full-time researcher over the next 12 months, and she's working on our Organic Aqua Regia DMSO project, which I will tell you a little bit about shortly. In addition, Newlox Research and Development benefits from the infrastructure of the public parent company, with myself as CEO and Jeffrey Benavides, who is our CFO. And he is a chartered accountant and a software engineer, so he's able to dabble in the technical side as well, which is quite nice. So Newlox Gold actually has a track record of innovation. We have built one processing plant which has entered gold production in Costa Rica using a custom-built tailings reprocessing system. That was developed through 2 rounds of research and development sponsored by MyTax Canadian grants at UBC. We built a custom-made system there to reprocess historical artisanal tailings, that's waste from local miners in Latin America, recover the residual precious metals, which actually is the majority of the precious metals. That's something, if you'd like to know more, please tune in for one of our Newlox Gold Ventures presentations. But what I'll talk about here is that we've developed the technology to recover the precious metals as well as remove the historical contamination generated by the local miners. That's really where we started with research and development. From there, we have continued to do research and development and have now formalized that as this subsidiary company developing very exciting products for the mining industry. So the primary project for Newlox Research and Development over the next 12 months is DMSO, which we're calling Organic Aqua Regia. This is a system to replace both mercury or cyanide in the mining industry. And this is a non-toxic reagent, which is a significant advantage. It also is anhydrous, means it does not require water. Of course, water use is a big deal in mining, and maintaining a clean effluent is also a big deal. So those are 2 big bonuses. In addition to that, because it's environmentally friendly, it can smooth out the permitting process and significantly reduce liabilities. This is a technology that we believe will be cheaper than conventional cyanide-based systems, both because the reagent is quite affordable, but also because it has the ability to be reused. We have gone ahead and done stage 1 testing on the Organic Aqua Regia DMSO process, and we've exceeded our expectations in stage 1 with over 90% gold recovery. In addition, the gold, once dissolved into solution, can be dropped straight out as a precipitate, removing the electrowinning or Merrill-Crowe process, which usually is required for a cyanide-based system, which is currently the industry standard. Currently, I mentioned that the industry standard for formal mining companies is cyanide. Cyanide can be used safely, but it is a highly toxic reagent. It needs to be used very carefully by the professionals at the mining site, but also it needs to be managed very carefully to prevent any sort of an accident that could release it to the environment. That's a very rare thing, but certainly it's something that that is a big issue, especially for stakeholders. By using a non-toxic reagent, that would significantly improve that situation. In addition, I mentioned that Newlox Gold, the parent company, specifically focuses on working with artisanal miners. And that's part of the industry that is really overlooked. Everybody knows that there's a $180 billion formal gold mining industry. These are the gold corps and the barracks of the world, as well as all of the mid-tier miners. And this is certainly an area where we believe our technology is applicable. But the parent company's operations specifically focus on the artisanal part of the industry. And what many people don't know is that artisanal mining actually produces 20% of the gold produced on Earth each year, and is a $27 billion industry that's completely neglected and using inefficient and pollutive technologies. This is an area where the technology we're developing, as well as our business model in the parent company, can make significantly powerful strides to modernize, both to improve productivity, improve the economic welfare of these people, and at the same time reduce environmental effects. The third part of the industry here is rapidly growing recycling and e-waste industry. That's an area where everything from platinum group metals and catalytic converters to precious metals and consumer electronics, as well as in the rapidly growing electric vehicle space. These are all metals that can be recycled and could be a target for Newlox's technology as well. What I will say as well is that because the parent company, Newlox Gold, has its first processing plant that has entered operation in Costa Rica, has produced gold, and will be ramping up to full scale. We're planning to be at full scale operation at Plant 1 at the beginning of at the end of the first quarter 2021, with the second project, which is now in development, planning to be commissioned in the beginning of the second quarter 2021. Newlox Research and Development has its first customer in place. Like many of the stories in the tech industry, we're developing this technology specifically to scratch our own itch. This is a product that we would like to use, which is why we're developing it. And so we have our first customer built in. We're planning to test the DMSO technology in the field in 2021. And if successful, that processing plant will switch over to the new technology and become a demonstration plant for the technology as well. Newlox Gold is primarily focused on producing the gold, but that demonstration can be used for potentially looking to new clients, whether it be through joint venture or by licensing the technology to third parties. Thank you very much, everybody. Once again, my name is Ryan Jackson, and my contact information is on screen. Please feel free to reach out to me at your convenience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And for our audience members, when I appear, that's like the big hook coming out on stage. So Ryan heeded instructions really well from Australia in 1997. Fast forward, he was instrumental in the company's successful IPO. And in 2010, BacTech Mining split into two new companies, one of them being BacTech Environmental Corporation. Mr. Orr assumed the position of president and CEO of that company. So without further ado, please welcome Mr. Orr.
Thank you, Barrington, and thank you everybody for attending today's seminar on technology in mining. I'm going to use a PowerPoint presentation that was given by Dr. Paul Miller about a year ago at the University of Toronto that I've updated. BacTech trades on the CSE under the symbol BAC, not to be confused with Bank of America, and on the OTC market at BCCEF. Oops, hang on a second here. First rodeo. So an overview of the presentation is discussing mining waste, sustainable mining. How do we, add to sustainability, and how does BacTech fit into that, and what type of projects we're looking at? Mining strips 28 billion tons of the earth each year, much more than natural erosion, and generates about 2.7 billion tons of processing waste. And smelting emits about 6 million tons of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. So that's the old pyrometallurgy approach. In gold, there's been a lot of gold produced over the years, but about 100 million ounces on an annual basis. It's harder and harder to find. And the deeper we go, the more arsenic we're finding. And it just becomes a little more expensive to process. So sustainable mining is in place to protect the future and to do things in a way that protects the actual miner himself, and of course not to leave legacies behind for future generations. Recycling is playing a much more important role in metal production. Obviously, we're recycling cellular phones, televisions, whatnot. And of course, this means less mining in the ground, which is obviously a benefit going forward. So introducing metals to the supply chain through sustainable mining, metal recycling, and extracting metal from existing mine waste. In all cases, we're looking at improvements in mine processing, which we think we do. We help in extracting residual metals from mine waste and remediating the environment, and eliminating things like acid rock drainage, etc. And we hope to provide a cost-effective metal recycling program. Excuse me. BacTech was originally a technology supplier to mining companies. The 3 plants that we built were built under license. We had a royalty for 5 years. We've probably, my memory serves me correct, that the licensing fee was around $1 million US. And we are now, what we decided to do back in 2010 was to split the company in half and use our technology to acquire equity in projects where we are the winner at the end of the day and not just the mining company. So how do we do this? Well, bioleaching is a low-cost treatment for ores. It's what they call a hydrometallurgical process, and we use most of it on concentrates. What we do is convert sulfides and toxic elements in the rock by breaking them down into solution or into solids, and then we recover depending on which format it's in. The bacteria are one of the oldest life forms which thrive in acidic conditions, and they have a high tolerance to arsenic, which is handy because there aren't many companies out there look for arsenic issues. They obtain their energy through the oxidation of sulfides. We provide reagents, and we also provide oxygen. They're very small, obviously, and at the end of the process, the metals either go, as I said earlier, into a solution because it's highly acidic, or it goes into a solid form where conventional technology is used. I might have to talk to Ryan about that non-cyanide approach. So how does it work? Bacteria, there's the sulfide minerals in the middle that you can see that it's basically working on. We concentrate on arsenopyrite, again, because of the arsenic issues. Most people run away from arsenic. We're attracted to it. But you can see at the end, the solution has the dissolved metals that are dissolvable in acid: arsenic, copper, nickel, cobalt, etc. And the solids contain gold, silver, platinum, lead. In the case of arsenopyrite, it's usually refractory, meaning the gold is locked up inside of the matrix, and something has to be done to break down the sulfide bonds that hold everything together, and that's effectively what the bacteria are doing. So the bacteria we collect, we've got a suite of about 66 bacteria that literally sit in a refrigerator waiting to go to work. We collect them off of rock samples, outcrops, you name it, old tailings ponds, because they obviously are attracted to that as well. And what we try to do is give them the Garden of Eden, so they can do in 5 to 6 days what would normally take them 20 years to do in nature. There's a picture of the workforce. So it's as simple as introducing the bacteria to cultures in a lab and scaling up. The bottom right-hand picture is a pilot plant a desktop plant that we built at Laurentian University in conjunction with Dr. Nadia Mikacek, who is one of the leaders in bioleaching in the country, well, if not the world. So we slurry in concentrates, obviously in a liquid form. There's a series of tanks that run probably once 3 or 4 in a row. It's a cascading effect, moving from tank to tank. We provide aeration as well as agitation, so the concentrates are suspended in the liquid and can be attacked by the bacteria. And again, at the back end, you have that solid liquid separation. This just gives you an example of the size of, this is one of the plants we built in China. This was an expansion. The original plant was 100 tons a day, and it went to 200 tons a day of concentrate, that is. And that material came from 13 different mines, and from as far away as Greece, actually. But you can see the relationship of the tank to the size of the crane. They're quite large, and they're made out of a highly special stainless to allow it to, combat the acidic nature of the liquids in the tanks. So we have done this before, scale up from literally a 5-liter reactor up to what you see there, which is 5 million liters in a commercial operation. That particular plant, I believe, is in Tasmania. Picture of the agitators and also the aeration. It's not oxygen, it's air. So the capital costs are a lot lower, by avoiding to put in an air plant. Another picture of the impellers. And you'll see those are cooling baffles on the far left side there. The bacteria generate a lot of heat. And our job, especially in the first plant we built in Western Australia, I got a half a minute. So the tanks are low pressure blowers in agitation, water cooled baffles, 4 to 6 day process. The iron and arsenic band together and are precipitated out as a ferric arsenate, which is an FDA approved landfillable material. This is an example of a flow sheet for a gold plant and one for base metals. And I think I've pretty well used my time.
I didn't mean to scare you. It's a great presentation. I was just giving you some warning. That's all.
Okay. Well, this is important here. So here's the comparisons to pressure oxidation and smelting, and you can see we tick all the boxes, and you can't say the same for the others. We provide a very low capital entree to mineral processing, which of course is in everybody's interest. So there you go, Barrington. Sorry about that.
Don't be sorry. This is great. For our audience members, and thank you so much for that. For our audience members, we encourage you to use the chat feature, ask questions. I have some prepared questions, but they're better coming from you. So as well, I'm probably going to ask a question later on which will enable you to win a Mining Over Canada hat. Do you want to know what it looks like?
Red with white lighter.
Right here. This is what you're eligible. So make sure you're paying attention to the presentations, and we will get that to you.
Okay.
And last but not least, Mr. Duane Nelson, President and CEO of Enviroleach.
Hi, I sure hope this is working now.
Yes, it will be. I can hear you. I can hear you pretty fine.
Fantastic.
I'm going to do my intro for you, and then we're going to get the slide. We'll get the slide going. So, Mr. Nelson is the founder and CEO of Enviroleach. He has founded a number of successful companies. Most recently, he was the CEO and co-founder of Silvermex Resources, a past TSX listed gold and silver producer. Mr. Nelson is a member of the board of directors of Group 11 Technologies and NGO Sustainability and Consultative Status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. I'm not sure what it means, but it sounds important. Without further ado, Mr. Nelson, take it away.
Thanks, Barrington. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to check in. As Barrington said, I'm the CEO of Enviroleach. Enviroleach was formed about 4 years ago, and we've invested over $20 million so far in the development of an inorganic electrochemical process for the extraction of gold, silver, platinum group metals, and others from both ores, concentrates, and e-waste. And so we are an environmentally green-focused company. Next. So how friendly is our formula? This is key. As we said, we use non-organic chemistry or inorganic chemistry, which is really just water-based. We've had fish swimming in our solution. All of the chemicals are actually approved by FDA, the FDA for human consumption. So the company's completed its research and development phase and is commercializing on both fronts, both the e-waste and the gold mining front. We're focusing predominantly on the mining side, on the extraction of concentrate. And we've tested numerous, hundreds of different ores and concentrates, have tested it independently, again, with using SGS labs and others against cyanide. Typically outperform cyanide. The last test that SGS did, cyanide got 96% recovery on a particular concentrate. We also got 96% recovery. The difference was ours was done in 5 hours versus the 32 hours for cyanide. So the product has been, and the chemistry has been tested at full scale. We've ran thousands of tons, hundreds of thousands of tons, or hundreds of thousands of pounds so far of e-waste, and then thousands of tons at our primary pilot plant in Memphis. The company's completed a 28,000, 3,600 ton per annum printed circuit board recycling facility in Vancouver. It's finished ramping up. It's been tested all summer. We've had some slowdowns because of COVID, and we're now seeing everything ramping back up. We just signed contracts for 100 tons a month, and you're going to be seeing a lot more supply agreements surfacing this fall. Key market drivers, e-waste is a large sector. The United Nations is now predicting over 100 million tons a year. Smelting is the predominant competitor in both sectors, the treatment of gold-bearing concentrates as well as on printed circuit boards. And of course, it will replace cyanide in a lot of the applications required in mining. The advantage, it's a water-based formula, inorganic, very environmentally friendly. If you spill it, it acts as a fertilizer. It can be washed into streams. It is very, very safe to use. It's a very simple process. We simply dissolve the precious metals in solution. We extract it using conventional technologies, and then that product is sent to refineries for completion. Here's the circular economy. What we're doing is we'll be purchasing printed circuit boards from e-waste recyclers around the world, and we're simply offering a sustainable and environmentally friendly alternative to the use of smelting. E-waste, why e-waste? Well, if you look at e-waste, being an ex-mining guy, it's rather compelling to see that even the low-grade circuit boards are valued over $4,000 per ton. So they're containing $4,000 plus in metals per ton. So this is how we compare to the smelters. You can see that we get very similar recoveries. Costs are similar. We do extract metals and provide payments of metals that smelters don't. And we do offer some sustainable and some green competitive advantages for those recyclers that are looking for alternatives to domestic alternatives to smelting. Gold mining sector. Again, very comparable cost to smelting and cyanide. However, most miners want to do it on site. We provide key modular type installations for them. Because it's very safe to use, we've simplified the permitting process, reduces the reliance of some of these, or most of the gold mines that are currently using smelters for processing their concentrates can now look to us as a tremendously green and economically viable alternative. And we've just announced the potential with another company, Group 11, for the use of our chemistry in situ leach, which is really key. When I spoke at the United Nations, this is one that everybody was excited about. It gives you the opportunity to extract gold without going underground. So it's a proven technology that's been used in uranium and copper mining for over 40 years. You simply inject your solution into the ore body, and then it pumps back to the surface, extract the gold, and we just simply reuse it over and over and over again. On the mining side, again, we're very, very comparable with respect to the recoveries and leach kinetics of cyanide, but obviously there's some tremendous benefits in using ours. The ability to unlock the value of smaller deposits, and of course, the ability to now extract those metals and get your mine permitting done in environmentally sensitive areas. Here's the chart I was referring to earlier, done by SGS. Very similar recoveries, but ours was leached in 5 hours versus cyanide's 32 hours. This is an overview of what in situ gold recovery looks like. It allows you to get in and mine gold deposits that were, even the smaller ones that were considered to be uneconomic in the past simply because they were too small. It really unlocks the value of thousands of small gold deposits around the world. Benefits: no material movement. You don't have to go underground to access the ore body. You don't have to build a massive milling plant for crushing. Extremely low by comparison capital and operating costs. Very minimal disturbance, visual disturbance. Very high margin compared to conventional mining. Small environmental footprint. As I said before, it's low energy consumption, but really it unlocks the value of thousands of the small gold deposits that have been found out there, but for one reason or another just didn't justify moving using conventional mining technologies. Well, we're protected, as we said. We've got patents, secured patents, 2 patents on it, another patent pending. We are not aware of anything out there that can compare with what we're doing. We are really the only environmentally friendly alternative to smelting on the printed circuit board assembly side, as well as on the processing of conventional gold concentrates. United Nations sustainability targets, we actually hit 41% coverage across the board on that. Some of our partners. In summary, I see Barrington's there. I'll wrap up. We've really just de-risked this company a lot. Process is finished, is tested, is proven. We're past R&D, and we have a completed plant facility, and we're rolling product into that facility at this time. And that's pretty much it, Barrington.
Well, thank you, Duane. And I'm, knock on wood, the technology portion of Tech Tuesday is holding up quite nicely. So for our audience members, thank you again for writing some questions in. I'm going to ask a skill testing question. This one's actually in 2 parts. And in order to receive your Mining Over Canada hat and or gift package, I'm not sure what it is, but at minimum, it's going to be a hat. I need both correct answers. And please submit the answers to mining@thecse.com. That's mining@thecse.com. This is a 2-parter. 1, which company had goldfish swimming in their solution? part 2. What are the 2 dangerous chemicals that came up the most often? Goldfish swimming, name the company, and name the 2 chemicals that keep coming up, the bad chemicals, the ones that sound like a 1950s spy movie when they want to off themselves. Which ones are they? Please send your answers to mining@thecse.com. You will, along with your address, so that we can get you a Mining Over Canada hat. Now, I would like all our panelists to return for what we call the Francis Inquisition. Thank you, panelists. Great job. So, first question, is your process continuous or is it batch? Please jump in and...
Our process is batch, and just like most of the hydrometallurgical processes used today, they're almost all batch processes. On the e-waste side is not batch. Sorry.
Bioleaching is a continuous process. We slurry, up to, I guess in China, the plant 200 tons a day of concentrate. And again, it's a continuous process that is separated at the back end.
The technology with organic agroregia has the potential to be done either as a batch process or as a continuous process. There's a little distinction looking at our actual processing plant that's currently on operation that isn't using the new technology yet, and that one is a batch process, but we do it with basically 2 different systems, so you can take one offline while the other one is running, so you can continue to load during the unloading process in one of the lines.
Next question. And you know what? Some of our audience members have actually been writing in, so that's good. What is the largest scale, tons per day, at which your technology has operated successfully?
200 tons a day in China, concentrate.
Wow.
Yeah, on the e-waste side, we've ran successfully hundreds of tons a day in pilot operations, but in Vancouver, which is a continuous process, we've ran so far 7 tons in one day during the ramp-up period.
The organic agroregia process has yet to be deployed in the field from a commercial level. So far, we've only tested it at lab scale. However, on the gold production side in the parent company, we have a plant that is ramping up to 80 tons per day in the field. We expect to be there at the end of the first quarter, 2021.
And what's the scale that you think you would need to be profitable at, providing a return after all costs, excluding administrative and such?
Our plant will do 100 and on the e-waste side, we actually break even. We'll be cash flow positive at 107 tons per day, 107 tons per month. I'm sorry.
I would say probably 30 tons a day, but again, that all depends on grade. There's a set charge for bioleaching, which is about $250 a ton. So what we want to do in Ecuador is we want to acquire this high arsenic material cheaper. It's obviously relatively inexpensive compared to conventional concentrates. But I would say at 30 tons a day at somewhere between 1 and 1.5 ounces per ton, it would make money.
Our current processing plant during test production actually did just barely go by the break-even point, cash flow positive, and that was at a test production level of around 15 to 17 tons per day. It's going to be ramping up to 80 tons per day shortly.
Is that a concentrate plant, or is that for your chemistry?
That is a processing plant that goes from artisanal tailings all the way through to gold doré.
Now, this one is directed towards Ryan. This is from one of our audience members. Could you elaborate regarding the technologies CapEx and Operating X?
Yeah, so I guess because we have the 2 sides of the company. We have the actual side that is processing using more conventional technology now, and then we have the other side, which is the new technology. As far as the costs of the new technology side of things, we're anticipating that it is going to be probably quite comparable, actually may compare quite favorably to what we're currently using and with normal industry technologies, but we're still in stage 1 testing. So on that technology, we have not done economic modeling yet, although because it is recyclable and the original reagents are actually quite comparable in cost to cyanide, it should be quite a bit cheaper is what we're expecting.
Nice. I have a question for Ross that came in. Ross, the process technology you have is very interesting. What is your treatment and recovery capacity in terms of volume and time? Thank you.
Well, I guess like anything, the plant can be as big as you want it to be. There's one being built in Kazakhstan right now, I think, that's doing 2,000 tons of concentrate a day. So it's effectively what we're doing in Ecuador is we're starting at 50 tons a day, and we'll add capacity as we need to. It's a modular technology. Operating costs are pretty constant. As I said earlier, they're about $250 a ton. So our margins are whatever we pay for the concentrate plus the $250 gives us our margin. Right now, the Asian smelters are paying Ecuador miners about 65 cents on the dollar for their gold in concentrate, and then applying arsenic penalties after that. So, we'll probably come in around 70 cents on the dollar and plus our operating cost.
And for our audience, we had 2 people who actually tied at the time that they submitted the answers. So we will be sending out a 1A and 1B prize pack. Thank you for those that participated. Another question that came in, I'm going to start with Duane, but it's for all the panelists, and it has to do with patents. And if you could elaborate on the patents that you hold both in Canada and the US, that's the first part. And the second is, there seems to be a lot of overlap with the patent technology. Is this actually the case? Duane,
there is no overlap on the technologies. We're an inorganic chemistry versus organic chemistry, and ours has ran at full scale and is proven to be recyclable and reused. Ours is based upon an element rather than a chemical compound. There are, in my understanding, there's very few organic chemistries that are environmentally friendly. Ours is, as we mentioned, water-based. There are 2 different chemistries. We're very familiar with all of the chemistries that are mentioned here, as well as the organic chemistry from Dr. Viega. We spoke with him quite some time ago about it. Just didn't feel that it matched our current direction. It didn't offer anything more than what we had already accomplished. As I said, it's really important you recognize that we're 4 years beyond laboratory studies, and it's rolled and commercialized. So there's a lot to be considered when you're running any type of a new reagent. It's not just about the recoveries, but also the recoveries, the costs, the recovery of solution. What do you do with your tailings? How much you lost in tailings? How much is so there's trust me, there's just a lot more to all of these technologies than meets the eye.
Okay.
I would say our answer is very simple. We don't have any. The patents we had expired. Don't forget, we built our first plant in '94. The technology grew out of King's College in London, England, back in the late '80s. We have signed a deal with the university, or Laurentian University, and Dr. Mikicic for a pilot plant to be erected near the school, and we'll be looking at pyrrhotite and other things, which would then we would then apply for patents on that as we perfect new technologies. But right now, there's 2 of us in the world that do bioleaching: Autocampo, who purchased the technology from Goldfields, and ourselves. So it's proprietary. How's that?
Perfect.
Yeah, so from our perspective, patents can be a little bit tricky because we know that there are groups internationally that will use that patent information once it becomes freely available as part of the patent process to replicate it. And so we're doing a little bit of a different approach here, where because Newlox Gold has its own processing plants and will be the first customer if the research continues to be successful, our idea is to keep that information proprietary, put it into operation at our own processing plants if we continue to see the success in the R&D side, turn those into the demonstration plants, and at that time, perhaps begin the patenting process. But we really feel that the real benefit here originally is to have that first processing plant come in and use that as the springboard. Try not to make it too easy for anybody else to copy us while we're developing it.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that, gentlemen. We are actually approaching the top of the hour. Where can people find your, sorry, what symbol are you listed under?
Our symbol is ETI on the CSE.
BAC on the CSE.
And LUX on the CSE, NGO in Germany.
Well, as a thank you, I would like to say for Duane, Ross, Ryan, for taking the time to talk to us during Mining Over Canada. For those of you who don't know what Mining Over Canada is, please check out CSE_TV, Mining Over Canada. We are traveling from one coast to the other, north to south. It's a 6-week tour, and right now we are in the Canadian Shield. After that, we'll be going to the Northern Canada, and we'll wrap up with BC. So please make sure you check it out. There's a lot of good stories. Thank you to our attendees. Go to the company's websites, learn more about these companies, and if you have a lead for them, reach out and connect. Now I'd like to bring on Grace Pedota, coordinator and host for the CSE, for closing remarks.
Thank you, Barrington, and thank you to our presenters, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. I think this is probably the most watched session we've had thus far. So thank you to everyone. And again, I'll keep this short and sweet. I have posted the link for registration for Mining Over Canada to the right of your screen in the comments section. And also, if you'd like to see a recording of this session and other Tech Tuesday sessions, I have posted the link on the right-hand of your side of your screen for CSE TV on YouTube. Please subscribe. Thanks.